So, today we're going to start talking about main idea. Main idea. How many of you have heard the term main idea before? How many of you have heard it but don't want me to call on you to explain about it? Okay, about twice as many. Good. All right, put your hands down. I'm not going to actually call on anybody to explain about it. Before we talk about main idea, actually, I just wanted to tell you a little story. So a couple of years ago, I went to Japan. I tried to go back to Japan. I've been back every year, but I used to live there. And one time, I went on this trip. And when I went on this trip, it was pretty fun. It was a long car ride. And then when I got to the mountain, actually, one time I went to a mountain, another time I went to an island, I got to ride in a cable car. And so the car actually was on the cable, and I got to ride on it. And I had such a good time on the trip. And what I saw was so cute. It was so cute. But I wasn't supposed to bring extra food with me to give them. But sometimes when I was driving down the road, you could see them in the trees. And I stopped. It was starting to get dark, and I could hear them in the woods. They were making all these noises. And I was kind of a little bit afraid at first, but then I heard them calling to each other. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. And I was so amazed. It was incredible, and it was a really fun trip. So I just wanted to share that story with you before I started. And I noticed some of you have confused looks on your faces, or look like you might have questions. So I guess I'm going to ask at this point, what are your questions? Yep.
What animal is it?
Oh, that's a great question. Did anybody else have any other questions? What animal was it was a question. Yeah?
What tree is it?
Okay. Yep.
Why are you starting the story without saying, like, the main thing, the animal? You said you heard animals. We want to know more about it. What kind of animal? What animal?
So you guys had a big question about you figured out that there was an animal in my story, didn't you? Okay, you're right. There was, and I never said the word animal, but I said I could hear them. Right? They were making noises. They were very cute. I wasn't supposed to feed them. I wasn't supposed to bring extra food for them. The animal was monkeys. Okay? So, knowing that the animal is monkeys, let me retell my story. Alright? So, when I was in Japan, I went on a trip. And, it was a long car ride. Got there. I got to ride in a really cool cable car to get to this mountain to see them. And I also went another time to see the monkeys. Instead of saying them, I'm going to say monkeys, to see the monkeys. And then another time I also went to this island that also had monkeys on it. And I got to drive around the island, and sometimes when I was driving, I could see the monkeys out my window. And there were even little baby monkeys, okay, which I don't think I included in my first story, but they were so cute. But I wasn't supposed to feed the monkeys food, because then the monkeys would come to me, and they might try to get in my pockets and things. Actually, they did that. One monkey tried to steal a camera from me. Okay, I had it in my pocket. And then it started to get dark when I was driving, and I started to hear the monkeys howling to each other in the woods. And I wanted to see what they were howling about, the monkeys were howling about, but at the same time I started to get a little bit scared, because I didn't know what those monkeys were thinking. And so it was a really great trip, and seeing the monkeys was a lot of fun. So now that I've told you that story, do you have other questions? Are you able to think about what the main idea of my story might be? I'd like you to turn and talk and tell your friend what you think the main idea of the story is.